So what you've just seen is a B-roll sequence that I recreated from a Daniel Schiffer video. And he's someone that I've learned so much from his YouTube videos. And he was also one of my main inspirations of wanting to become a videographer. But this video isn't about him, this video isn't about me, and it's not about the B-roll sequence that you've just seen. This video is about if you should copy people's work as a junior videographer. I've been in the film/video industry for just over a year now, which isn't very long, and I still have so much to learn. But I can honestly say one of the main things that I can contribute to my development as a videographer is the fact that I've tried to mimic and copy other people's work. And in this video, I'm going to explain why it's so important to your development as a videographer. Hi, my name is Jack and I'm currently a junior videographer for the NHS. And this channel is all about documenting my journey as an amateur in the industry, so you guys can see how I progress with my knowledge, skills and career. Plus it'd be a nice bonus if I could help other junior videographers along the way. So this video answers the question if you should copy other people's work or not. And to get straight into it, I think you absolutely should. I think it's such a great way of improving and developing as a videographer. To be honest, I would go as far as saying it's probably the single best thing you can do to improve your camera skills, and I'll tell you why. But before jumping into it, I just wanted to give a little caveat. When I say copying other people's work, I mean so in terms of helping you with your development as a videographer. But when it comes to stuff like YouTube content and paid work, it's fine to use other people's work as inspiration. But if you're copying kind of the exact replica of someone else's work for those types of other work, then what does that say about you as a creator? So why do I think copying other people's work is so crucial in developing skills and knowledge as a videographer? Well, there are three main reasons, which are: one, you get a step-by-step guide; two, it encourages you to film more; and three, you get a direct comparison. So starting with the first reason, which is when you copy other people's work, you normally get a step-by-step guide of the process of how they created it, and then you can then use this to help you recreate it essentially. If you're copying someone else's work from YouTube, a lot of the time in their videos, they break down each step of the process. And this used to be so helpful for me when first starting out, and it still is now. As a junior videographer, it can sometimes be so overwhelming with knowing where to start and what to concentrate on. Do I concentrate on my camera settings? Do I concentrate on my lighting, my equipment, my framing, my composition? And a lot of the times this can be so stressful and overwhelming that you just put off filming altogether because you feel like whatever you do, it's not going to be good enough, it's going to turn out wrong, and you've got all too many things to kind of juggle in your head. But I found by kind of completely mimicking and copying someone else's work, along with that step-by-step guide that they provide, it allows you to relax more and enjoy the process, because you know if you just copy their work, then you'll have a good understanding. It's also good to learn on the way as well of the camera settings, because a lot of the time they mention what kind of settings they used on their camera. And it just allows you to focus on one factor or element of the shoot at a time, instead of having to worry about these 5 or 6 things all at once. Okay, so moving on to the second reason I encourage you to start copying other people's work as a junior videographer is the fact that it gives you an excuse to film more. Now this might sound a little bit odd, like why would you need an excuse to film more? Surely if you're in the industry and you're learning, you enjoy filming. And that is true, but I think a lot of us amateur and junior videographers and filmmakers struggle with imposter syndrome, where we feel like we're not creative, we're no good on the camera, and all our work's kind of not up to standard. And I think this can lead to us shying away from filming, as we do feel like an imposter. We feel like if we're, I don't know, outside filming something or around people filming something, they're gonna kind of look at us and judge us because we've not been doing it long and we don't feel like we're in that industry at the moment, because we're not at a certain skill level. And this can kind of blunt creativity and yeah, like I mentioned, not kind of make us in the mood for being creative and picking up the camera and making films. But I found by utilizing other people's work and using it as a blueprint to copy for my work, it's made me just pick up the camera more and start filming. I think one of the big reasons is you don't have to focus on pre-production, so I don't have to spend time kind of planning out my shots, creating storyboards and mood boards. And even though these are so important, pre-production is such an important thing to master, when you do get that kind of wave of imposter syndrome, it's so hard to create this, because it literally just feels like it sucks all the creativity out of you. But by copying other people's work and using their step-by-step guide and their blueprint, you don't have to worry about that. You can just pick the camera up and get shooting. I also find by just kind of getting into it and starting shooting, that quickly helps get rid of that imposter mindset, because I can visually see myself kind of creating, and I'm liking the type of things that I'm creating, and it's just a reassurance to myself, like, yeah, I am creative, yeah, I am kind of a videographer. That's what I define myself as. Okay, so moving on to the last reason why I think you should copy other people's work, and that is the fact that you get a direct comparison. Now, this is great for looking at areas that you've done well and you need to improve. If you're copying someone's work, you can then kind of compare yours to theirs and be like, okay, my transition wasn't quite as smooth as theirs. Why was this? You can question it, you can dig deeper, and you can learn from your mistakes. But it's also good to see what you've done well, and then kind of you get that sense of fulfillment, and that's that little hit of dopamine that says, yeah, I done well. I executed that better than I thought I would. And it's a great way to see your progression over time as your kind of skills and knowledge. You get better skills and knowledge. One thing I would say though, a kind of word of warning for this: ensure you're in the right mindset. And the reason I say this is, if you go in with a overcritical and negative mindset, it could dishearten you a lot, because you might see their work, you might see yours, and it might be nowhere near in terms of quality. They might be at a much higher quality than you. But just reassure yourself and kind of tell yourself that this is a long journey, and they've probably been in the industry a lot longer than you. They've been learning a lot longer than you. They've got a lot more experience than you. But just remember that if you put in enough time, enough consistency, you will get there, you will continue to improve. But I definitely recommend kind of comparing your work to others. Just ensure that you're in the right mindset. So throughout this video, you've been seeing cutaway clips of me, which are the behind the scenes of me recreating a Daniel Schiffer video that I mentioned at the start of this video. So I've been talking the talk, so now it's time for me to walk the walk, and I'm going to play my video and Daniel's video side by side, and we can review what I think I've done well and what I need to improve on. So there you have it. I hope by now I've convinced you to start copying other people's work, as it's such a great way to improve yourself as a videographer and spend more time actually on your camera, getting used to all those camera movements. And that's one thing that I think is so important as a junior videographer. But remember, always do it for developmental purposes, and always be sure to credit the original creator. And on that note, I just want to say a quick thank you to Daniel Schiffer for creating content that inspires me and has taught me so much, but for also letting me reference his video throughout. Thank you for watching. Peace.